Welcome to the 5th round of the Blitz tournament. Now we are playing very tricky player who is rated around 2100. We are currently 3 points out of 4 rounds. And I started with e4, c5, knight f3, d6, and now I went for knight c3. He picked e5 variation where he kind of blocked the center, but he got the hole on d5. I played bishop c4, he played bishop e7, d3, and now there is 2 plans here for white in this variation. After knight f6, I can go directly for knight e2, knight f1, knight e3, and then go after the square on d5. Or I can go IDS knight g5 followed by f4. This is the 2 main plans in this position. I started with knight g5, he played castles, and I went f4 directly. He played knight c6. And here it's just important to wait until he takes on f4. So we just go castles. Now bishop g4, knight f3, and knight e4 is the variation how it goes. He played h6 instead. And now I can also bring my knight to h3, believe it or not. I don't mind running the structure according to engine, because then the g line gets open. But instead I want knight to f3, because it feels more natural. And also I'm simply threatening at some point to win the pawn if he moves the knight from c6 square. On the other side, this knight is protecting the king very well, and after bishop e6, now white has idea to close the king side, and after trading to get more control on these light squares. At this point, as white got the control of the light squares, black will get some control over the dark squares. So f5 is a hard decision to make. It's changing the structure completely. But on the other side, my bishop on c4 is challenged, and if I take on e6, they take back. Now suddenly even this structure means better for black, because I cannot plant my knight on d5, and this pawn is not really a weakness, it's also a benefit. So that's why I played f5, trying to get control. Now d5 is one of the only moves here for black, but instead he took on c4, he took back, and now engines start liking white here a lot, because after knight e4, to stop b5 idea, that's very strong move. White should go a4, and on something like a6 to play a5, of course, but just to not allow b5, which is great counterplay. I played bishop e3, and now very strong move for black is b5. But he missed that move. Instead, he went for rook b8. I went a4. He played a6, a5. And now I stuck this structure on the queen side. He played directly b5. I just take. He takes back with rook. And now b3 consolidated the structure in the middle. And generally, now the light squares are super fine for white. On the other side, this knight on d4 is strong piece. So we would like to trade that knight. He played knight g4. Now bishop on e3 second, so that's why we exchange it for the bishop. He take back with c, and now after knight e5, he jumped on e3 with a knight, offering the trades. Here I was about to make a move queen d3, but then I saw that he'll take my knight, and I want to keep the d line open. So I'm going to simply eliminate the knight now on e3. He takes back. And here, to get even more control, we need to put the pieces on the d line. That's why queen to d3, threatening to take the pawn. And this pawn is important to black because, you know, he'll be pawned down after this. But on the other side, white has to be careful how he's capturing this pawn. Because after queen c7, if we capture directly the pawn, we might enter the trouble after the move d5. Because now we are not in time to recapture. There is powerful move bishop c5. And white is suddenly losing the game. That will be a very huge counterplay where they will eliminate their bad pawn and also open up their bishop. So at this point on queen c7, king h1 is very nice prophylaxis, so always look for your opponent's threats. Now we are ready to capture this pawn. He played g6. And at this point, we can take on g6, but we just don't want to open up the game for them. So I'm thinking now about queen takes, and after g takes, queen takes h6. And if you go something like f4, there must be some rook lifts later. So I just took on e3. He has to protect that pawn with king g7. And now I found very interesting plan, 92, knight b1, knight c3, knight e5. Trying to regroup my knight to the d5 square. It takes a lot of time, but seems interesting to me. Maybe I should start actually with a knight g1, knight e2, knight c3. That's maybe better angle for regroupment. But knight e2 also looks interesting. The only reason why this knight regroupment is slow, it's because black is getting fast control in the dark squares, bishop g5, queen d3, and now trading the pieces is fine for me. So if he takes my knight, I'm fine with that. My knight was a bad piece. He played queen c5, I played knight b1, and suddenly I'm in a practical problem here because I thought queen e3 is an uncomfortable move, but actually queen d4 is even more uncomfortable because now I can't go knight c3. There is queen takes, pawn takes, and now rook takes b3, and suddenly game is very equal. So after queen d4, he's also threatening to take my queen, so that's why I took the queen. He takes back, and now my knight is in a problem. I can't go with the knight on c3, and black equalized the game. So I completely underestimated his queen trade and changing the structure. Rook a5, he played rook to e8, and now black is the one that pressures the pawn in the middle. I took on g6, he took back, and after rook d5, he took on e4, and I'm looking for the counterplay now. I played the knight a3, trying to get my knight to the game via c4 square. On the other side, I think this king is weak, so we can try to target their king. He played bishop f6, I played c5 directly. He take, and then I played check with the rook, and after king g8, I brought my knight to c4. Suddenly black is better because he has some defense according to engine, and rook e6 is very nice one. I played g3 because I need to save my king for back rank checkmates. And now a very strong move for black is to go rook e2, takes, and then just rook e2, and then simply win the control over the second rank. Instead he went rook e1, then this is not great one because I have king g2. And now he missed the opportunity to restrict my king. After this check we just block. And now the game is again balanced. Black is pawn up, but also this knight feels more scary than this bishop on f6 when it comes to counterplaying the kings. So he decided to take, and to win the pawn on c2. So rook d6, yeah, black is winning another pawn, king f3, but king walks in, which is great signal for white. King f7. Now we take on a6, also make the distance rook, rook check, king e4, rook takes, and after knight e6, suddenly black is facing some practical problems in the time scramble. King e7, and now we would like to give this check, but before that we are going with king. He push, I give a check on a7, and now the only move is king f8. If he goes here, there is just king e6, and then checkmate is coming on this square. So after check here, he moved the king on f8. And now at this point, I have to repeat with rook a8, rook e7. That's the only draw, but I played king e6. And this is now a good position for black if he finds some bishop d4 moves, but instead he went d2, and now after rook e8, king g7, knight e8, he cannot stop the checkmate. Because whenever he moves the king, I'll take the bishop with the discovery, and when he comes back on g7, rook g8 is checkmate. So that's what he realized. Instead of d2, he should go with something like bishop d4, and if I go for check, king g7, and after many checks, he eventually will play king h7 and then hide the position on g7. And that's how the game ended. I gave a check, he went in the h8, I took on f6, king g7, and after rook g8, it's checkmate. That's about a fifth round. We are proceeding with 4 out of 5, and I'll see you in the next one.
Pa da, malo konji, to su... Nego on se napravio kontru
Ali ovo
dobro...
se lepo našao ovaj zadnji plan, da ga remontiraš. Jer sve je sa tempom, razumeš? Jedan tempo i gotovo, gotova priča.
Sad na kraju da sam uzeo top 7, top 6, ima da gurni ako siđem top 1
Da,
na
šah.
i izvuče
Da,
da...
tako je, to sam i...
To sam ja vidio i onda rekao što
Da, baš je bilo onako na ivici.
Da.
Good game.